videos like this one. For you, it's just a small gesture, but for us, it's essential to continue sharing stories of men and machines that have marked an era. Today we're telling you the story of the Lambretta Louis. After solidifying its position in the higher market segments with the LI series models, the glorious Innocenti found itself, at the dawn of the 1960s, facing the clever moves of its rival, Piaggio. This offensive initially took shape with a new budget line for the 125cc category, but most notably with the introduction of the Vespa 50, which smoothly captured the hearts of moped enthusiasts, winning over an ever-growing audience. At the 1961 Milan Motor Show, Innocenti proudly responded by showcasing a prototype of the Lambretta 50. However, due to a hesitant market and a project lacking boldness, the idea was shelved. It wasn't until the spring of 1963 that the fruits of a more refined strategy began to appear. The Junior Series was born, initially in a 100cc version, which soon evolved into a 125cc model. On this foundation, the decision was made to create the Lambretta 50, which was unveiled at the end of 1964. One cannot overlook the initial prototype, dismissed for lacking the charisma necessary to make an impact. A decisive contribution came from Bertone, whose creative vision marked a turning point. First, he proposed a wooden outline defining its key features, and then, in just 3 months, developed a final model. This prototype, with its characteristic tubular handlebar, was Spartan but functional and became the basis for the budget version. The bright orange color choice added a lively touch to the CL range. Despite structural issues that necessitated a redesign of the chassis in 1966, the Junior 50 managed to carve out a niche for itself, with production exceeding 70,000 units. However, the comparison with its rival model remained harsh, hindered by an uninspiring design in a market that increasingly valued aesthetics alongside functionality. The mechanics, solid and well-designed, continue to be a strong point. While the Junior 50 remains in production, the idea of a new model without a fairing begins to take shape, focusing on lightness and a highly competitive price. In 1967, an internal prototype is developed, but its design fails to convince. At this point, the company decides to entrust the task to Nuccio Bertone, who had already collaborated on other projects for a new four-wheeled vehicle. With speed and skill, Bertone presents a preliminary design that quickly evolves into a finalized prototype. Initially, the tubular handlebar is retained, but Bertone himself highlights the inadequacy of this solution for the new design. From this comes a brilliant insight. Inspired by the sporty steering wheels of the era, Bertone designs a handlebar with 2 lightweight alloy arms, shaped with robust ribs and rectangular holes that enhance its elegance and modernity. This detail, adopted only in the more refined versions, gives the model a unique and unmistakable personality. The distinctive elements of the new scooter, beyond the bold lines of the handlebar, exhibit an originality that does not go unnoticed. The shield, with its sculpted profile, features a pronounced central crease that extends horizontally, dividing the airflow and elegantly directing it upward and downward. The fuel tank, conceived as 2 halves joined horizontally, integrates perfectly with the rear frame, as if part of a single entity. Other details, such as the headlamp with its characteristic hexagonal section and the slim motorcycle-style fenders, enrich the aesthetic with touches of modernity. Beneath the bodywork lies a proven mechanical soul, that of the Junior 50. No unexpected surprises are in store, thanks to the reliable engine. The declared power remains compliant with regulations, at 1.5 horsepower. The engine is a 2-stroke with 3 ports, featuring a bore of 38mm and a stroke of 44mm, delivering a compression ratio of 7.75:1 and running on a 2% oil-fuel mixture. The gearbox, simple yet functional, has 3 speeds. Compared to the Junior 50 engine, minor aesthetic updates are noticeable, such as the forced cooling shroud in plastic and the redesigned wheel rims. The chassis structure is based on a stamped sheet monobeam frame, with a front suspension featuring pulled link arms that follow the company's established tradition. At the rear, the oscillating engine is paired with a generously sized spring damper system, ensuring comfort and stability even on rough surfaces. As for the name, Innocenti's advertising office opts for an unconventional choice. The new scooter will simply be called Louis, him, a name that plays on the simplicity and immediacy of the slogan "Tutti per Louis, Louis per tutti." All for him, him for all. For foreign markets, particularly English-speaking ones where the wordplay would not have the same impact, the name Luna is chosen, evocative, and international. Two variants were planned, designated as Model C and Model CL. The main differences focus on the handlebar, tubular for the Model C, and the color palette. Model C has a sober appearance with white and aquamarine hues, while Model CL dares with vibrant tones such as orange, turquoise, and apple green. The price reflects this distinction. 89,500 lire ex-works for Model C, and 95,000 lire for the more refined CL, both positioned aggressively compared to the Junior 50, which neared 111,800 lire. With a light weight of 68.5 kilograms and a ground clearance of 165 millimeters, the scooter stands out for its agility. Its top speed, limited by legal regulations, is capped at 40 kilometers per h, while its fuel consumption, just 1.6 liters per 100 kilometers, makes it an economical and practical vehicle, suitable for a young and dynamic audience. For foreign markets, where the power limitations imposed by Italian road regulations do not apply, a version called the S was introduced. This version featured a striking high-positioned exhaust and a two-seater saddle. However, the claimed sportiness of this variant was mostly aesthetic, with few technical improvements over the base model. During its brief production run, just 15 months, 27,000 units were made without significant modifications. The 75 version, in an attempt to improve performance for export markets, Innocenti launched a larger displacement variant of the Louis in 1968, with an engine capacity increased to 75 cc. To emphasize the international ambition of this move, it was unveiled at the prestigious Tokyo Motor Show, where Innocenti stood out as the only non-Japanese manufacturer participating. This new version drew attention with its striking styling details, such as vibrant decorations that stood out against the white background of the shield and rear structure. On the technical side, the increased board of 46.4 millimeters and a compression ratio raised to 9.3. One allowed the engine to develop 5 GP at 6,300 RPM, a respectable output for a vehicle of this size. The gearbox, now with 4 well-spaced gears, ensured lively performance, enabling the scooter to reach a top speed of 85 kilometers per h. These specifications made the scooter particularly suitable, even for the more dynamic urban traffic. In Italy, where this model required registration, the base version, called the S, was sold for 115,000 lire, while the more advanced SL, with a Lubomatic automatic mixer and a separate oil tank, reached 125,000 lire. For export markets, Innocenti adopted evocative names, Vega for the base version and Cometa for the more accessorized one. However, even this upgraded version could not escape the fate of the original model, and production ceased after just 8,000 units. Despite its satisfactory performance and competitive pricing, the Louis did not achieve the success it deserved. The primary reason lay in the market's failure to understand it. Its bold and innovative design proved too ahead of its time, clashing with the traditionalist aesthetic preferences of the era, which favored perceived sportiness and solidity over elegance and originality. Yet, viewed through today's lens, the Louis designed by Bertone emerges as a masterpiece of simplicity and modernity. Its design, far from the conventions of its time, appears strikingly contemporary and proves that valid alternatives to stylistic uniformity exist. Alternatives to the Japanization that eventually influenced every corner of the global motorcycle industry. We'll stop here, and as always, we remind you that spare engine parts and rubber components for Lambretta and other vintage motorcycles can be found on the website thekingapiston.com. The wheels keep turning, but the stories remain. Every motorcycle tells a journey and reveals an era. See you at the next stop, always on two wheels and with a piece of history.